Now, plastics have become a headache for the country to deal with. Everywhere you turn, there are plastics lying around. A plastic bottle, for example, has become a major problem in this country. Today, we are being told by researchers that some of the fish we eat contain microplastics affecting our health negatively. But why are people opting for plastic bottles? JoyNews Samuel Kojo Brace explores alternatives that can help save our environment, prevent flooding, and also address the economic cost of poor environmental practices.
I prefer the glass bottles. You know, with the plastic bottles, it has become a big, let's say a big challenge. And you see that a lot of plastics on the streets. You see a lot of plastics on the street, but it is very difficult to see glass on the streets. Yeah, so I will go for the glass bottle.
So how is this impacting the decision of restaurant operators? Isaac Lai is a supervisor at Champion Dishes at Dabraka. He says people consider the easy handling of the bottles they choose.
Maybe the person wants to take it out or something, or want to take it home. The person cannot, most of the glass bottles, you cannot take it out. But with the plastic ones, you can take it out. Yeah, but most of the people who come to Champion Dishes, so they prefer the plastic bottle because most of them, what they say is that the plastic bottle is easily to handle. And with that one, you can take it out. But for the glass bottles, when you need to drink it and then leave the bottle here.
To him, some people also do consider the health impact of the two before choosing.
You know, the plastic one, when it's easy, after taking the drink, you dispose the bottle. You need to put it in the bin or something. But with the glass one, what most of them have in mind is that with the glass one, after taking in the drink, it will be sent to the company. The bottles will be sent to the company, and then maybe they need to go through a process of cleaning. Yeah, they need to clean it and stuff before they can refill and then cover it again. But with the plastic one, now after they've taken the drink, they will dispose it. They have to put it in the bin, and then after everything, you have to put it in the bin. Then when they put it in the bin, with that one, it will be disposed into. They will throw it away or something, or it will be taken to a recycle place for them to.
Our penchant for everything plastic, including water, is giving the country a huge headache in terms of managing it. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, plastic pollution is a global problem. Approximately 7 billion of the 9.2 billion tons of plastic produced from 1950 to 2017 became plastic waste, ending up in landfills or dumped. So what do researchers say? Professor William Gordon, a professor at the Environmental Studies at the University of Ghana, says research has shown that people ingest plastic particles from drinking water in a plastic bottle.
Recent study looked at bottled water in about 9 different countries. And they looked at around 260 samples. And they found that there was an average of about 325 pieces of microplastic per liter. So if you drink just one bottle of water, the 500 mils, that means the year you will ingest about 50,000 particles. Now the particles are of different sizes and they have different impacts. So they range from the size of human hair to the size of a red blood cell in your blood, the one you have to use a microscope to see. And if you have something around the size of 20 microns, a micron is, let's say, 1,000th of a millimeter. So it's very, very small. It can actually pass through your blood vessels into your organs. So it will end up in your liver, it will end up in your kidney, and if you don't excrete through the urine, it will accumulate in.
Well, Benjamin Latte is the Executive Secretary of Assorted Waste Alliance. He is our guest on Discussion 4 as to explore the alternative ways to save our environment from continuous plastic waste pollution. He joins me via Zoom. Mr. Latte, what has been the major concern from your outfit on our unregulated use of plastic waste in the country? Hello, Mr. Latte?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. One of our major concerns is the fact that the materials used in plastics are a major concern. And if you can see from your documentary, you realize that it's the PET that is the majority that has been littered as per your documentary. And this material lends itself so much to massive littering. Secondly, one of our the other concern is that there's no motivation for the collection of these materials, so it makes it easier for it to be littered on the floor, and much people it doesn't show much sense of business. The third aspect of it is that the mandatory organizations are not so well equipped in such that whatever not measures have been put in place, they can enforce the management of this waste as it's been done, as it's been seen. And finally, the mindset by Ghanaians that these days, those the PET, which is the plastic bottles you find in your documentaries, is the easiest thing to use. As compared to the former days when we're using that of the bottle, people were very, very careful and cautious how they use it. But for currently, people don't care how it is being managed. That is one of the things. Then lastly is that how are the various industries that have been set up to manage this plastic being supported? It will surprise you to know that a kilo of that the PET, which is the bottle one, is 70 pesos per kilo. And if it's 70 pesos, you need almost about 1,000 kilos to get 70 Ghana cedis for somebody who is going to do the collection. And it doesn't show any motivation. Finally, let's look at the fact that, granted, this is very, very well done. Why is it that people are still not collecting? Because the use of these bottles after use is not very further. When you look at some of the bottles, they are not even acceptable in picking. Some of them have materials that are very, very deterrent to human life, and therefore people will not go in picking them out. For us, in the coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation, it is our hope that the incoming sanitation policy document will have some kind of area where it will look into the plastic issue as part of the sanitation chain and be able to address it properly.
Well, Mr. Latte, what do you think should be the drastic way to curtail this menace? Okay, well, just lost Mr. Latte there, but we also joined on Zoom by Desmond Alona, co-founder of the Green Africa Youth Organization and the Africa Program Manager for the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. Desmond, you have been working on recycling of plastic waste in Africa. What can you say about the situation in Ghana?
Thank you very much. So in Ghana, we have quite a very at infant stage, the recycling atmosphere. And what has been happening is that we have various, last year, as at August last year, we had about 53 individual and institutions that are engaged in recycling of plastics. But out of these, the actual recyclers were like 8 of them. And even with the 8 of them who are actually recycling, and here recycling means actually applying either heat and chemicals to turn the material into another form that is having durability, a higher durability. These 8 people, out of them, the 5 of them, they were not able to even recycle up to 200 kilograms a week. So you can imagine the vast majority are just people who are able to shred most of the plastics and then either sell out to some of these recyclers or ship it out to another country where the recycling appetite is higher than our case. However, we do have a lot of innovators who are using plastics in different forms. Some of them quite really sustainable, converting plastics into building materials, converting plastics into material recovery facility where it serves a multi-purpose in different parts of the country. But we are very, very at the infancy when it comes to the recycling of plastics in Ghana.
I mean, what about the regulations bit of it? Are we doing well as a country to regulate waste management?
We are not doing so well. I have been supporting the NPAP Secretariat, which is the National Plastic Partnership Secretariat, and I'm part of the policy task force. I'm also, my organization is laying down the criteria to define what we classify in the country as problematic plastic. And we are still yet to finish that process because we started last year. But so far, we haven't been able to do enough because as far as policy regulations are concerned, as far as monitoring mechanisms are concerned, we have such a very significant gap between who is on the field monitoring what is actually happening and the consumer that is actually buying these plastics on a daily basis. I'll give you an example of the last time around 2014 up to 2016 when we had some form of plastic regulation, both the levy and also the ban. We had a lot of issues with respect to people's understanding to what level do you even classify as, let's give an example of 20 microns. What does that mean to people? And so when it comes to the regulation, we have not been able to lay it out enough for our kind of population to understand what we are talking about. And we are not able to explain very much in detail to them what is the menace about plastics, because people are driving on convenience and people would prefer to go for plastics because it gives them the convenience. But then if the regulatory aspect of it was able to come out strongly and explain how things are going and what should not be done, we could have really moved further, because with the MMDAs, who are very much in touch with plastics, because their main role is to manage municipal solid waste, that could have been one of the channels that as a regulatory body we could take advantage.
Thank you very much, Desmond. That's Desmond there on the plastic menace in the country. But